Everybody make sure you subscribe to J New Orleans. You don't want to miss a thing.
Oh, yeah. What's up? But if you have any questions or anything, like if you are a viewer, you could email me at jneworleans@gmail.com, because the people who trying to get advertisement, they already started, which I ignore their emails, and then they email me again saying, have you seen the last email? Like, baby, everybody on YouTube don't want to be the thing like popular. If the channel grow because of the content, is organic, and that's fine. I don't have the aspirations other people do, because other people are on here for different reasons. And you know, so let me rock. Interrupt the programming. My younger self and many people today struggle with change. People want to be better, bigger, stronger, wealthier, healthier, more attractive, more disciplined, more peaceful, but they miss out on the fact that most people are not just fighting their circumstances, they're fighting their programming. And I don't mean programming like you're a robot walking around with a charger port in your ankle. I mean the unconscious patterns, automatic habits, emotional defaults, survival responses, cravings, routines, reactions, comfort zones, and learned behaviors that run in the background while you think you are making fresh decisions. Computers are not the only things with programs. Humans have them too. Your body, nervous system, your spending habits, eating, relationships, attitudes has programs. And your excuses have programs, your confidence, even your self sabotage has a schedule, a uniform, and a little name tag that says employee of the month. And the scary part is that many people do not recognize the program because they have lived with it for so long that it feels like personality. But everything that feels natural is not always healthy. Sometimes what feels natural is just what got repeated. It's not that's just how you are. It's not that your family does it too. Like, you can be free of all of that, especially if it's a habit or a group of habits that's limiting your life. Like, based off what I see and have seen on the internet, majority of the stories I see are people who are stuck in situations because they refuse to let go. They refuse to let go of the people that's holding them back. You see the people who get rich, and the first thing that they do, especially hood rich people that become really rich, they think that they can take everybody around them and somehow that's going to translate, and it never works. You have never seen a success story from that. Even the ones that appear like success stories, those friend groups usually fall out really bad, and you find out that the people who pretended that they got on like the first person got on, they really were faking it. And I put, when I do the images that y'all see, I kind of put intention into it. Like, this a lady sleeping in bed with a cloud. And then this is the person on the road less traveled by themselves, like I've been pretty much my whole life, even though I was in denial about it. And that's good old Bourbon Street. I didn't even notice the man was doing that. No, that's the lady. Oh, that's that lady that be wearing having the speakers and the music and stuff. She doing a handstand or something. Anyways, back to the lesson. Repeat. A lot of people admire the results of other people, but disconnect themselves from the process. They see someone with a healthier body, clear skin, good posture, confidence, or strong energy and think that person just has it. But in many cases, that body is telling the story. That body may be telling the story of walking, stretching, hydration, sleep, therapy, meal prep, discipline, recovery, strength training, sacrifice, medical care, and saying no when the old self wanted to just say just one more. And at the same time, our bodies tell our stories too, not as a form of shame, but because bodies are complicated. Health is complicated. Genetics, disability, stress, trauma, medication, income, food access, injury, sleep, and environments, that all matters. And then even with food access, Some people have food access, but it's not always the best options. Like there's a lot of small towns that only have a Dollar General for groceries. So you can only imagine the limited amounts of selection that people have. But habits matter too. Sometimes the body is not judging us, it's just reporting the news. And some of us keep asking, why do I feel like this? While our daily habits are standing right there, like, do you want me to answer or should I mind my business? One night, but because what you do with your time feels small in the moment. One night of bad sleep feels small. One skipped walk feels small. One extra plate feels small. Doom scrolling, it feels small. One ignored bill feels small. One argument you should have walked away. One I'll do it tomorrow, but zoom out weeks, months, years, not a pattern. Start explaining your life. This is not condemnation. This is information. And information is powerful when you stop using it to beat yourself up and start using it to build yourself up. That's the beauty in awareness, because with awareness, you can take the awareness the person is bringing, and hopefully they be respectful when they do it. But you can take that and either feel played about it and use your energy to attack the person back, or you can use that information to build yourself up. And your brain saves energy by automating you. The brain loves efficiency. That is why you can drive a familiar route and barely remember the drive. That is why you can eat while watching TV. That's also why people know how to get to places without knowing the directions to get there. They just know how to get there. That is why you can brush your teeth while thinking about something else. That is why you can walk into a grocery store and automatically grab a cart without holding a committee meeting in your head. Your brain automates repeated behavior so you do not have to use full active attention for every little action. Research habits on Research on habits connect automatic behavior to learned cue response systems, meaning repeated behaviors can become triggered by environments, emotions, times a day, and routines instead of fresh decision making every time. A 2025 review on breaking habits explains that changing habits often involves weakening old stimulus response links, avoiding the triggering cues, and building competing responses. This is why change can feel hard. You are not just deciding to change, you are interrupting a system that has been rehearsed. And that's also why I tell y'all it's about who you're around. Not to blame the people for your actions, but influence is a powerful thing. Most people don't admit to it. Like a lot of people don't admit to it, especially when people could look at one person and call them a follower and say they have idols and not realize that they probably have their own. Like for me, I can say that people on social media follow a lot of celebrities and all of this whoop de wham, bow bow, bing bing bam bam. But for me, I have people I follow too, not online, but I have people that I follow too but I also don't hold them above all. I'm not gonna argue over them. Any musical artists I like, I'm not gonna argue over them. I see videos and stuff about people all of the time making fun of people I used to listen to. I don't care about that. I don't know them, because at the end of the day, I look at people as like an open world game. Like it's other people around and they on their own journey too. If we connect, we can connect to make each other journey easier. We could connect to encourage each other on the journey and not do anything. We might connect because we have to connect. Whatever level I'm on at the moment might have this person around, but I respect the fact that there's expiration dates for everything. Even us as humans, we have expiration dates. Some things just more clear than others. And that system may have years of practice. The old program knows the root or route. That's why I do double pronunciations, because we pronounce words differently out here, and for whatever reason people believe that I'm not saying the word because it don't sound the way they believe it is. So just to save all of that for people so they don't miss the message, I just double pronounce, sometimes triple pronounce. So when people try to change overnight and get mad because they fall back, they don't understand what they're actually doing. They're trying to replace a program that has been running for years with the motivational speech from Tuesday. Baby, Tuesday is not enough. You need repetition, environment, awareness, patience, a new reward system, and to stop treating every craving like a command from heaven. Sometimes a craving is not a command, It is just a notification. And like most notifications, it can be ignored. A good connection is, if you have a smartphone, more than likely, if you use any type of apps like music or GPS, it looks at your programming and it starts recommending stuff when you use it long enough. Or it'll know that you're at the gym and it'll ask you, are you ready to open up your workout app? That's because humans have programming. Like a lot of products and things you've used over the years, or businesses, or even commercials, they're showing you someone's programming. Like it's so many examples. And look at New Orleans. That must be during an event because there's buku people over there. Ugh. That one was funny. That's why I put that one up. And then multitasking is not always strength. We love to act like multitasking makes us powerful, but some activities take up too much of the brain's attention. Driving is one of them. You can drive while thinking, you can drive while listening to music, you can drive a familiar route and feel your body knows what to do. But when something unexpected happens, a child runs out, a car breaks suddenly, a light changes, a person swerves, a pedestrian steps off the curve, that is when autopilot is not enough. That is where distracted driving becomes dangerous. First of all, if you have the ability to not see those things, I'm I'm not really, but I'm jealous of you, because for me, being hyper vigilant, see childhood trauma, um, like I notice everything. Like I even know when people about to hop over in my lane before they do, because a lot of cars, soon as they think about getting in the left lane, even if the lane ain't available, subconsciously they drift over to that direction first. And some of them may have manners and put on their turn signals, which is very helpful, because if you need to get in front of me and there's nowhere else you can go, I'll take my foot off the gas. But anyways, that is where distracted driving becomes dangerous. NHTSA reported that distracted driving, that's from this one up here is from what I read earlier. I'm just like, I had too many pictures, so the file was too big. So I'm just stretching the pictures out so it won't match, but it correlates to what I'm saying. That is not just a statistic. Well, actually, I didn't even finish the sentence. They reported that distracted driving claimed 3,208 lives in 2024 and injured 315,167 people. I mentioned that in the other video too. That is not just a statistic. That is someone's child, parent, friend, cousin, coworker, neighbor, and future. And it connects to programming, because some people are so programmed to check the phone that the phone becomes louder than survival. The brain says, look at the road. The program says, check the notification. And the little rectangle wins. That is not freedom. That is control. The same thing happens in conversations. You ever talk to someone while they're doing something else and they say, I heard you, or that's crazy, or I'm listening. But then but you ask a question about what you said and they can't answer it. Or they ask a question that you answered 3 minutes ago. That is not listening. That is their ears clocked in, but their mind is on lunch break. Some programs cannot run at the same time without lowering the quality of the output. Texting, driving, eating, arguing, reading, scrolling, listening, reacting all at once. That's not productivity. That is brain jambalaya with too much seasoning. I did put a picture with that too. And let me get to that picture. And of course, driving. And that was the thing. That's the visual for 315,167 people injured by distracted drivers. Prison is not a fun place. So y'all will end up with the people who that applies to. Whenever I say y'all, it's regarding whatever I just mentioned. So if I say y'all after something, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the viewer, unless that applies to you. But the amount of seemingly innocent actions that are already known to be legal, but people still do it anyway, is because the consequences haven't been publicized enough. But there are consequences for people who recording at the gym. You can end up being sued. I don't know if you realize that. When y'all doing y'all little videos and you have people in the background and you post that on social media, if somebody ends up having anything happen to them because of that, they can sue you. And of course, they can sue the gym because the gym ain't enforcing their rules, and it's a rule. And when it comes to driving, any type of vehicular thing can either end up with you paralyzed, you hurt, you losing your job because you're in jail for a few days. Not to mention people who do things in vehicles. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, people love to bundle illegal things. So the person with the headlight out, they get pulled over. They probably have illegal stuff in the car, or they might have a warrant, or it's always something. And then when the person getting arrested, all of a sudden they begging, but baby, please think before y'all do, especially in public. At least at home, unless it's the internet, at least at home you have the safety net. And that's not jambalaya. That's just a food that the stock image came up with because I've like, if peas, maybe that's Mama Tina's jambalaya. I don't know. Y'all would eat it anyway. Ugh. Every habit you have today started somewhere. Every program had a day one. The first time you stayed up too late, the first time you ate past fullness, she tired from staying up too late, and then he full from eating too much. The first time you ignored your body, the first time you borrowed instead of budgeting, the first time you laughed off pain, accepted disrespect, said, that's just how I am, use chaos as entertainment. You let someone else's emergency become your identity. I'm guilty of that one. Baby, I had 100 identities because every emergency, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And because it started somewhere, it can be interrupted somewhere. That does not mean it will be easy. It means it's not magic. A lot of people unconsciously program their current habits. So when it is time to build new ones, they don't know how. They think change is supposed to feel inspiring every day. It is not at all, actually. Sometimes change feels awkward, feels boring, feels fake, feels like you're pretending, feels like your old self is sitting in the corner talking about, so we just healthy now, that's what we doing. But first of all, take feelings off the shelf. Unless it's a feeling of pain, like physical feeling, take it off the shelf, because if you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to make a drastic change, your feelings is the reason you're there in the first place. Focus on being more intellectual and learning more about whatever you're into and finding positive examples of it. Because at least with a positive example, that person is going to give you realistic ups and downs. When you find the people who trying to sell stuff on social media, they always make it seem like it's a crystal stair, like, oh, it's so easy, it's simple as 1, 2, 3. Or them a-hole personal trainers who probably gonna get exposed for some stuff in the future, like they always do, because it's a certain type of personality that is on social media and post particular content. But that's a whole different video. And they make it seem like, oh, you should just do this and you should just do that. That's how you know they're not qualified, because if they were, they will understand that it's a mental part to everything. You can't just tell a person, oh, you're not doing this because you're this, and this. It's deeper than that. Even when I tell people about doing stuff, notice I always go back to the mental portion of it, because that's very important. Because new habits often feel foreign before they feel normal. When you walk into a grocery store, you know you move differently. You know where the baskets are, you know where the milk is, you know which aisle has the cereal. You have integrated yourself into that environment. Like for me, whenever I go to different Walgreens, if I'm in different cities or different sides of town, it always throws me off because they don't have any type of unified setup, which is like stupid. And then a lot of the stuff don't even be having labels. Like the other day, I was looking for deodorant because it's never musty, and they had it tucked behind the makeup, but they had no label for it. So I almost would have never seen it because I don't go down the makeup aisle. What the hell I'm gonna go for? But when you are somewhere new, you move differently. You pause, you look around, you ask questions, you feel timid or rushed. I don't ask questions. Thanks to it being normalized that people at businesses have nasty attitudes, I don't talk to them. Unless they address me first, I don't go to them, because if I address a person, which I'm always, hi, excuse me, hello, and a person in return with an attitude, I'm not doing that. I'm not. So I'm big on that at first, because for me, I know that I resolve every issue that come my way. So if I have a customer service issue, I'm gonna resolve it. However, I'm not trying to stop nobody bag, even if they are a hole. I feel like that's more dipping into other territory. But you may feel timid or rushed. That is how new habits feel. At first, your brain does not know where anything is. But with repetition, the new environment becomes familiar. And eventually, what once felt foreign becomes a part of you. This is, oh no, I can't sing that. See, man, that's why too many of these people getting canceled. Anyways, I was about to sing a song for y'all, but I'll think of another one in between. How I change. The way I add positive programs is by focusing on the benefit. I acknowledge the task. I research the proper way to do it. I also research for alternatives. And then I also look at the risk of whatever it is. If it's something that's not too dangerous, I may make up my own thing because I think about the fact that so many people are taught just to follow what's already written, and they don't realize that people have to be original to, like when we look at the different eras of time, if they took and just only followed everything from the 1300s and no one ever made anything new, we would be behind on a lot of things. And that's kind of the struggle a lot of people have when they being led by people who using outdated information. It has you in society looking like a psycho because the information they telling you is outdated. They could easily be creative and merge the old information with more up to date things to it, and they don't. I acknowledge the task. I research the proper way to do it, but I focus on the benefit. My relationship with exercise and fitness is not built on a summer body timeline or shallow ideals. I see fitness as prevention, freedom, fun, exploration, and investment. I'm investing today so tomorrow does not have to move like an old shopping cart with one bad wheel. When my hips opened up and my knee pain improved, even though it's still there, that reinforced the value. Walking better and felt better. Sitting down felt better. Movement felt less like punishment and more like permission. That gave my brain a new reward. Not look good for the internet, not prove people wrong. Baby, fuck people. A goal should not be tied to other people unless your goal is to get a job or something that you need people pleasing thing. If you don't you don't have to say fuck people in a hateful way, but if you don't forget about people, i.e. fuck people, then they're going to fuck you in many ways. And that is a stronger program. When I knew braces were coming, I did not view it only as restriction. I view my teeth like a butterfly going into a cocoon. My job was to protect the transformation. So instead of focusing on what I could do, I focused on what I was becoming. I used braces as an opportunity to let go of things that were not good for my teeth or overall well-being. Even flossing became something I enjoyed because I connected to it, and it's relieving, baby. Once you get in the hang of flossing, you can feel when you have stuff in between your teeth because it's a completely different experience. But when you get used to it, your gums get all sensitive. That's why when people start flossing the first few days, you're going to bleed because your gums have to get used to that. And you probably had something lodged in it that you just removed too. Not to mention, many health issues start in the mouth, and a mouth infection can be fatal. So you're playing with you essentially it's natural for us to just not take care of stuff that could kill us. And then when people die, that's when everyone is shocked. You might hear about it for 3 days, and they just go back to scheduled programming. I use braces as an opportunity to let go of things that were not good for my teeth or overall well-being. Even flossing became something I enjoyed because it connected to relief, and that's how you build a habit. You stop looking at action as punishment and start connecting it to identity. You are not forced to stretch. You are becoming mobile. You are not forced to budget. You are becoming stable. Stability, stable. It's a lot of unstable people, but it's normalized. That's the uphill battle you have to do, especially if you already programmed to fit in. You are not forced to sleep. You are becoming restored, and your muscles actually heal during a portion of the sleep cycle. So when people don't sleep, but then you're constantly working, Your muscles are not being recharged. That's the equivalent of taking your phone and trying to use it for a week straight. But the phone itself is gonna shut off. Your body does it too, but it don't do it the same way a phone does. And you can't just plug it in like you plug in the phone. And supplementing caffeine does not heal the parts of your body that you're destroying by not getting rest. Cravings are information, not commands. And see, that's the freedom to freedom. Look how free they look. Even though they overdressed at the beach, they probably musty. Braces. Programs take time to decommission. And if your program behavior has an environmental trigger, that trigger can still fire even after you quit the behavior. If someone drinks every time they go to the park, then quits drinking, they may go back to the park and suddenly feel a craving. This a perfect example of this is when I worked offshore, it was a common thing for people to only smoke cigarettes when they're offshore. So offshore, they smoke on a cigarette cycle like a regular cigarette smoker. But then when they get home, it's like, many of them would just leave their cigarettes at work because they didn't need it at home. That's a real thing. The craving may feel random, but it is not random. The environment pressed the button. The body remembered the routine. The program said, this is what we do here. Many people see cravings as commands, but cravings can be information. They can tell you, this place is connected to an old behavior. This person activates an old version of me. This emotion usually sends me toward this habit. This time of day is dangerous for me. This boredom is trying to become a purchase. This loneliness is trying to text the wrong person. This stress is trying to become a plate, a bottle, a blunt, a cart, a casino, or a checkout page. And they take advantage of that too, but that's later in the video. Once I stopped taking every emotion and impulse seriously, I gained power. Did I ever take emotions seriously? I mean, yeah, but I'm not outwardly, just inwardly. I started questioning them. Where did this come from? What memory is attached to this? What am I really looking for? Relief, control, stimulation, comfort, familiarity, revenge, attention, escape. Revenge is not something I have to think about. It's very easy. That changed things. I do not believe regular people need to turn every meal into an operation or a military operation. Athletes may benefit from strict diets because their goals are specific and performance based. But for everyday life, I believe awareness can do a lot. When I wanted sugar, I started remembering what happened after previous sugar cravings. It often led to guilt, sluggishness, or feeling like I had just been finessed by a cupcake with frosting in a dream. That memory helped weaken the program. That craving was real, the optional. Also, too, I'm so in tune with my body. I noticed that like packaged sugar items, they add something extra in there because it gives the sense that you want more. And for me, I know that that's a lie because I don't even like sugar like that. I'll eat a sweet every now and then, but I prefer things that are cooked and created because the sugar is more natural, I guess. It's not all of the added stuff that the stuff from the factories are sometimes. I don't know. Look how happy he is. Freedom, freedom. And that's the brain. The clean slate program. Clean slate. Clean the plate. One of my programs came from childhood. Do not waste food. That sounds good on the surface, and in the right context, it is. But the adverse effect was overeating because many restaurants serve 2, 3, or 4 servings of food on one plate. My childhood program did not understand portion distortion. It just saw food on a plate and said, mission, eliminate evidence. My brain would clear the plate before my body agreed. That is programming. The way I interrupted it was practical. I started getting to go plates in public. I use smaller bowls at home. I use salad, water, and fiber-rich foods like apples to help with fullness. I stopped treating full like failure. I stopped treating leftovers like disrespect. Even the program weakened. Now I recognize that I do not always need as much food as my eyes, emotions, or old programming suggests. That is an important point. You do not always have to fight the program directly. Sometimes you change the setup, smaller bowl, earlier bedtime, phone in another room. to go box before you start, walk shoes by the door, bills on auto pay, snacks out of sight, healthy food visitable, toxic group chat muted or blocked. It's fuck mute. Subscription canceled immediately, not later. I love doing that, especially if it's a free trial. Some of them really be like on it to where if you cancel the free trial while the trial is still going on, it still cancels it, which don't matter to me because I probably needed it once. But a lot of them, if you cancel it is at right after, it's just gonna let you get the free trial and then you won't be rebuild later, or they might have a rebuild option because later is where old programming be waiting with a folding chair. Programming in relationships. This about to get real fun. It's about to get real fun. I'm gonna show the title and update. This one was for the representation of shrinking oneself, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Programming does not just show up in food, fitness, money, or sleep. It shows up in people. There are people you shrink around. You can be confident in one room and small in another. You can be bold with strangers and silent around family. You can be soft in public and rough with loved ones. You can be peaceful alone and chaotic around one specific person. The switch is programming. And that's why it's helpful to be conscious of your programs, because if someone with usually manipulators, they notice those things. If they're not psychologically aware, they might not have a name for it, but they know that, okay, at this place, she's like, that's like when kids, they get their parents in situations because they know it, they're more likely to respond a certain way if you do like stimulus plus response. And that is why I keep stressing for people to learn themselves for real. I don't care who you display to the world. And if it may not be true when you find out who you really are. That's between you and Key Glock. They don't have nothing to do with me. I ain't telling you that you got to be honest with the world about what you find, but you need to know yourself, because if you don't, people will use you against you. It happens all the time on every single level. What just breaks my heart, if I had one, is that people are able to always identify what everybody else is doing, man. Like, oh, it's sad. Cause they the expert on everything else except themselves. Like they're allergic to mirrors or something. Please don't be them people. I promise you. And I don't make promises. So even if it don't work, this is not a real promise. But I promise you that if you were to see more of yourself and make the connection between your life, it will get easier. Now, it may not be but then another thing you're gonna realize is that a lot of your goals were not never for you anyway. Your goals were somebody else's. It is the activation of a version of you that learned how to survive in that environment. That is why seeing someone in different environments can shock you. You may know the public version, then you see the family version, or the work version, or the relationship version, or the insecure version, or the versions that comes out when they feel ignored. And it surprises you because you had a program in your mind of who that person was. Then they display something else. I'm the king of that, baby. If you meet me one place, I'm not that person somewhere else. People who knew me during my party animal era and met me at the actual club would always be shocked when they see me in other environments. Don't let it be something professional. I guess people assume everyone knows the same things they know, because when people see that you know more, they always act weird. They act like they used to act in school. How slow kids, not disabled kids, but the actual slow kids in regular class who was disruptive and annoying and all of that, they always were shocked when they would see people's levels of knowledge, even though knowledge is not something that's gatekept. The stuff I speak on is not even anything. Like I was telling somebody about the effects of El Nino and the benefits of less hurricanes this hurricane season. And they just shook like if I got it from the Vatican basement. Baby, it's online. If anything, any people should be more concerned with the weather, because it's a lot of things going on that I may make a video about in the future. Who knows? Do I feel like it? I don't know. Ask me tomorrow. But back to the story, because I can go on about that. Then they display something else. Now your brain has to update the file. This is why some people repeatedly disrespect someone they have known for a long time. They're not responding to the person in front of them. They're responding to the old program. They still see you as the version who tolerated. And when you grow up and or when you grow, they malfunction because your new boundaries interrupt their old access. That's why a lot of people have family issues, because people, them families, they have a bad habit of trying to make you be who you were when you were 7 for the rest of your life. And it does not work that way. And then some of them, like people I know, they'll try to benefit from adult you, all of the adult benefits you have, the money, the cars, whatever, they'll benefit from that. Or if you need help, they'll know that you're grown. But whenever it's something regarding them, they try to infantilize you, whatever shit. Now let's take some programming into situations involving two or more people, because sometimes the program is not just inside one person. Sometimes the program exists between two people. It becomes a shared routine. One person talks, the other person listens. Then the other person talks and the first person gets ignored. One person calls, they hold the phone, they drift out of the conversation, they start talking to people in the room, they merge calls, they randomly call someone else in the middle of your conversation. They have party level noise in the background, like the phone call is being held inside a second line parade, a fish fry, and a custody exchange at the same time. And when you say call me back when you can actually talk, they swear they can talk, but they're not actually present. They're splitting attention, treating your voice like background music, which is so disrespectful, and expecting you to keep performing friendship through the disrespect. And they don't even feel like they're doing anything. When you have to address those kinds of people, have fun. You better have first class postage stamps if you're addressing them, because a lot of them tend to have, especially, okay, let me rewind again. Depending on who you are as a person, is who around you, because humans are just like animals. If animals need water, if you find a lake in the woods, it's going to be animals nearby because that's a water source. When it comes to people who scam us, they try to scam anywhere that people don't know about whatever the scam is. So they scam the less fortunate or the less aware. When it comes to predators, notice that predators are always around places that their prey is: kids, women, just places where they could find people. Or when it comes to people who rob people, they like unaware people. So when it comes to connections, as far as friendship, relationship, family, if you are someone who have some type of compassion, empathy, or whatever, you are like poop for a fly, but you are attracting all types of people that may have different tendencies. They may not be full blown narcissists, but they might be narcissistic, because these people have fathers and mothers that are this way, and they pick up a lot of their traits and they try to justify it because they move through life and they feel like, oh, it worked for me this long, so it can't be me, it got to be you type stuff. So when it comes to these types of habits, as long as that person is benefiting, if you telling them something they're doing wrong, they're not going to acknowledge it. Or you might find yourself over explaining when they first reject whatever you saying. For me, I learned, I'm gonna tell you one time, even though when it comes to the phone thing, I address it in a moment. And then when it comes to behaviors with me, I give so much time. Like people always say, give everyone grace. I give them a whole continent of grace. And so when the door closes, it's not going to open back up, because this is not a negotiation. I'm just informing you of what has been happening for the last few weeks or the last few months. Or maybe it's the fact that people think that friendship is lifetime automatically. They don't realize that, like relationships, you have to work with each other. If someone is growing, you have to see if that's something that maybe you need to step back from them because you are hindrance to their growth, which I love doing that. I will quickly leave your life if I'm hindering your growth, because I'm not a selfish person and I'm not a needy person. I appreciate everybody I'm connected to. I don't need them. As far as, what am I going to do without you? Said never, me never. Like, it's always like, if you really love people, which most people who claim love don't really even know what it is, so they can't properly love people because they don't even have self-love. You are respectful of positive things happening to them without underhanded compliments, without passive aggression, without gossiping with them behind their back. And what makes it dangerous is that the disrespect may be subtle enough for the person doing it to dismiss it, but repeated enough for the person receiving it to feel erased. This is where the unequal playing field appears. When you speak, when they speak, you listen. When you speak, they drift. When they need support, you show up. When you need support, they disappear into the noise, social media, excuses, or whatever attention buffet is open that day. And after a while, the pattern says something. Not one call, not one bad moment, not one distracted day. A pattern, because a pattern is behavior with the memory. This is also where treatment gets delivered through programming. If someone has been programmed to expect you to let subtle disrespect slide, then your silence becomes part of their comfort. They do not experience your silence as patience. They experience it as permission. So when you finally speak up, they take offense. Two man, look, that's gonna be its own video right there. Not because you said, I'm not even going to elaborate on that. Like it's so because if I did, I'm wasting time because it's gonna be its own video. I just wasted time because I did it earlier. But because your honesty violated the program, you changed the rules of access. You went from ice skater just gliding over everything, letting everything slide, to someone who finally stopped in the middle of the rink and said, no, we're not doing this anymore. And people who were comfortable with the old version may not respond with reflection. They may respond with confusion, irritation, defensiveness, or entitlement. Definitely the last three. The confusion be fake though, because everyone wants to say about accountability, but regardless of if I disagree with it or not, if someone addressed something I did that's impacting our connection and I value that connection, I'm going to ask more questions. I'm not going to immediately tell them, oh, no, that's not true. That could never happen. I'm going to ask them, hey, so what instances, what's the most recent time you think that happened? So I could remember that. Because for me, whenever I bring up stuff, I always have the instances. I have elephant memory. People coming into my life know that about me. And that's the problem with people, problem with them hoes, because they like all your rhythm, but they don't like the blues of that rhythm. A person with memory, with good memory, is going to remember everything, not to hold anything in. But when it comes to addressing something, baby, I don't need receipts because I have the whole printer. Like I am the printer. So when it's never like when people try to invalidate it, now we have an issue because it's very valid. It's not something that, because I guess they used to people who not sure themselves, to where they like I want to talk to you about the way you've been talking to me on the phone. What do you mean? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean nothing. I'm confused. I must be tripping. I must be in my feelings. No, bitch, this ain't that. I don't like. You can't respect me for being gangster, then then be mad that I'm a gangster. Like, and I don't mean gang stuff. I mean, you know how people just be saying stuff. This social media. Because in their mind, the program was working. You listened, adjusted, tolerated, carried, over explained, gave grace, kept contact, protected the relationship. So when you stop, they do not always ask, what did my behavior communicate over time? They ask, why are you acting different? Oh, I ain't heard from you in a while. I had somebody who always tell me that. Literally, you tell me that every month. Like, if you couldn't just reach out, like if it's been a month since we talked, just reach out and say, hey, what's up? Versus, oh, it's been a while since I heard from you. Like, if you're trying to tell me I'm supposed to reach out to you first, why would I reach out to someone who doesn't even care that I'm calling them, like, or texting them? The text be dry, the phone calls be dry. We met most of the people who I had to get rid of, is I met them during in places that you don't meet people. You should not take people home from work. Don't take people home from the club, as far as friendship and all this other stuff, because those people are shallow. If you met somebody drinking, that's probably the only connection you're gonna have with them. Like, and then you also have to think about the fact that it be weird people in them environments. It be weird people at work. Psychopaths need to pay bills too. Narcissists need to pay bills too. People who do stuff to children and who secret murderers, they need to pay bills too. So it's all kinds of weird people you meet at these places. And then when you start to look at the person life, how, which you kind of should start looking at that sooner, but if you no judgment like I was, how every time they fall out with somebody, it's always the other person, or, oh yeah, because people always do that to me. That's a huge red flag, because there's no accountability there. None. Or even the fact that they telling you. Because for me, I don't discuss people with other people. The people who discuss people with other people try to make everybody else look like they do what they do, but I've never done that. It's never anything that a person privately told me that has ever been revealed. Nuance to that is you have people who fake and tell everybody between me and you and be done told 5 people, and then when they get out, they blaming everybody, or they picking a random person. Like if you missed a call one day, oh, it must have been you who told. Like people are really crazy. Long story short, you could be fun crazy, but to be psychotic crazy, watch out for the psychotic people, please. There's a lot of them out there. And they ask, why are you acting different? That question itself can expose the program, because sometimes you change really means you stopped accepting the role I assigned to you. That's exactly what it means in my experience. Every experience is different. Because look, she tired of the people. Look how over she is. She have patterns on her clothes, so she see the patterns on the hoes. She's tired of it. I am too. I'm with you, ma'am. Hopefully she go by ma'am. This also connects to what researchers call phubbing, or phone snubbing, ignoring someone in favor of a phone. Studies and reviews have linked phubbing with worse interpersonal outcomes, including negative mood, feelings of ostracism, and harm to relationship quality. Baby, y'all losing y'all relationships to scroll. That's crazy. Y'all better start meeting them people from online in real life if y'all gonna lose people in real life for people online. Not a suggestion. That's dangerous. It happens in friendships, family calls, work conversations, group settings, everywhere people pretend physical or digital access is the same thing as presence. Presence is not just being on the line. Presence is attention. Presence is respect. Presence is not making someone compete with TikTok, Instagram, group chats, speakerphone chaos, and somebody yelling in the background about who took the aluminum foil. Now, for me, I identify as INFJ. Google it. And for me, that meant I carried a lot internally. I analyzed, I understood, I gave context, I gave grace. I tried to see the wound behavior. I tried to be the bigger person so long I needed a chiropractor for my spirit. It's, by the way, that's a personality type. It's a bunch of them that I only know about that one because that's the one that I keep testing as. So I didn't look up the other ones, but that's what that is. You don't have to Google it if you don't want to. But carrying too much turns into collapse. Look at that seesaw. That's my ghost holding it down. And that's the other person living the life on top of the world. But to summarize that part, as to give context to these invisible relationships that ended with Jay New Orleans, because people always seem to feel like, oh, you're an awesome friend. Oh, I would love to be this and all that. I mean, yeah, I'm me, but we don't operate the same. People love how I operate and think that they deserve me because they like me, and thinking praising me for it is gonna make me think I deserve them too. But we don't operate the same way. Certain people need to be more selective. If you a basic person, you mediocre, you could be friends with anybody, because most people probably doing better than you, so they can encourage you, or many are doing just the same as you, so it's really no competition. But when it comes to people who actually think, who actually live by the beliefs that they believe in, you really find yourself confused, because other people will claim the belief that you believe in and they don't live like it, but they'll use the judgment of that belief. And not to mention, for me, I mirrored the people I grew up around as far as they toxic traits when it came to connecting to people in the real world. So in my 20s, I was not aware of that program in me. So these people in question were just carbon copies of the toxic environment I grew up in, and I was recreating it with new people. So that's why these people were so simple minded. But you know, you live, you learn, or you're gonna repeat. So when you repeating, that means you didn't learn. And carrying too much turns into collapse. But when I broke, I did not always break loudly. Sometimes the verdict was quiet. I gave up contact, not because I wanted revenge, not because I was emotional, not because I needed an apology, which is funny. Parade with balloons, confetti, and a saxophone solo. I stepped back because I saw the person clearly. I saw who they were, the pattern, the relationship that was not changing, and I removed myself. That is a different kind of distance. That is not punishment. That is pattern recognition. And people be thinking, apology gonna work, baby. For me, for Jay New Orleans, like if it's a pattern, that is who you are, baby. So I'm gonna back away. I'm not the changer man. I know everybody. Taylor Swift got a song. I can fix him. No, really, I can. Like I can't fix anyone. I can show you what the tools are that you can repair yourself, but you have this is self-service. This is self-checkout. Even though I don't go to stores that have that, unless it's like a smaller one or something like that. And so, what is an apology gonna do if that's something you've been doing for years? So you think what we gonna do? You apologize for something that you've been doing and that I told you about in the moment, but I guess me telling you about it and moving on because I've always been the type of person. If I address something, number one, it's not gonna be big. I'm not gonna call you yelling. I'm gonna just say, "Hey, this, and this wasn't cool." You know, usually in the moment, but I guess because I'm not a emotional person. People brush it off. I guess maybe their brain is wired to where if a person ain't yelling, that means don't consider what they're saying. But you're apologizing for that. You did it 20 times. It's no apology. Like you keep and my thing is you call me. When it comes to me calling people, anytime I call people and I had something to tell them for real, if I accepted whatever environment that they had, because I would always tell them that when they apologize, I say I accept whatever environment you have because I called you. You didn't have to call me, even though I'm thinking in my head like, bitch, if it was me, I wouldn't answer the phone because you shouldn't. If you busy, don't answer the phone. Like call me when you done, or text me or something like that. Or even with text messages, people be texting you, hey, or good morning, and don't have no reason. And then 5, 6 messages later, it's still nothing. But then when you finally stop texting, oh, you didn't know what I was about to say. Or like on the internet, how the dummies on Twitter used to be defending the small talk people who trying to normalize texting people who phone number you just got, what you doing every day, which is so weird. Oh, you don't even know if I was about to say more. Well, baby, I have 2026. I have 12 years of text threads from hundreds, if not thousands, of different people of all levels of life. Not many romantic, probably like 5 or 6 romantic over the years, but mostly acquaintances, coworkers, whoever, family, yuck. Of people with small talk that never went nowhere. And I engaged it all the way through. And what they would do, restart the conversation later and do the same thing. Because a lot of people are not really fully human. They are probably human genetically, but all of these different things that's been programming people has people as mindless slaves that have an opinion. And a lot of the times it's not their opinion. I look over here because it's 2 screens and I'll be looking at the time and the slides and stuff. Some people notice weeks or months later, and then came the confusion. Why don't you call? Why are you acting funny? What happened? You could have said something, but many times something was said. It was said directly. I'm always direct because I grew up around passive aggressive people, passive aggressive adults. And as a younger child, I unknowingly would be passive aggressive, like saying stuff like, oh, I see your little friend, and it'll be the person into me. Because that's what the people who raised me did. And I thought it was normal until when I would try it with that same adult, they would feel disrespected. But then I'm thinking, if this is bad, why they do it to me? But that's another video too. It was said indirectly. It was said through tone. It was said through exhaustion. It was said through the same request being made over and over. But people do not always hear what threatens their convenience. And when I explained the unequal playing field, some apologized. But by then, the apology did not matter because my distance was not emotional anymore. It was observational. I had seen enough. An apology can acknowledge a moment, but it does not automatically rewrite a pattern. Other people dismissed it completely. Some almost demanded contact. And that is wild because they wanted access to me while historically, look at my eyes, I'm Charleston White, historically showing that my voice did not matter. They wanted conversation, but the conversation had no respect. What the hell? Oh, it went to day mode. So weird. And that is where programming becomes entitlement. Communication research has long studied recurring conflict patterns such as demand, withdraw, where one person pushes for discussion while the other person avoids, disengages, or withdraws. It's funny because when I'm saying S's, water be going in my mouth and making me slip over the words, sounding like promises, promises, getting a little tired of your broken promises, promises. These patterns are associated with relationship dissatisfaction. Pardon me. And distress, because the issue is not just the topic being discussed, it is the repeated structure of how people respond to one another. Now, apply that outside romance. One person says, "This bothers me." The other, it just switched back to dark mode by itself. That's funny. You too sensitive. It's the settings. I just remember it's not that deep. I was just busy. You know how I am, and you know how I am. Well, they don't. That's the even more fun thing. From my experience, I'm the lab rat for everyone. I was the lab rat in the hospital with all them surgeries I had to get. Word the BBLs. They even had students looking at my leg and all of that. So I'm the lab rat of friendships past, because people don't learn you. A person who ain't interested in themselves is not interested in other people. They just interested in viewed a certain way. When you look at a lot of things people do, it's for view. It's not. That's why they private areas are not taken care of. No pun, all pun. Homes, body, everything be stank, but look good. You know how I am. You always got something to say. So now I'm a bad person. I guess I can't do anything right. The last person who used to respond to "I guess I can't do anything right" was later diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar. And I'm not a therapist, so I can't do it. Even though I said it, I'm like, this man acts schizophrenic. Nobody believed me. So he started talking to himself. Anyways, that is defense dressed up as confusion. And sometimes the person is not defending truth. They're defending the old program. Because if they admire you are right, if they admit you are right, they may have to admit they have benefited from your silence. That is why some people take offense when you finally speak. Or some of them are like, if you don't tell them how many instances it was, if you just mention it that one time, they'll try to lie about it. It'd be like, "Oh, I was just feeling tired that day. Oh, it was a lot going on today." Bitch, there's a lot going on every day. We say the B word a lot in New Orleans. Am I vulgar in real life? No, I don't even use profanity. That's crazy. Your boundaries become a social norm violation inside that relationship. Research on norm violations, that look fun, shows that when people violate expected social patterns, others can respond negatively because the behavior disrupts what the group or relationship has come to expect. This is the thing. That's why people who in them groups, men and women, well, is built off misery and being single, baby. Somebody get in a relationship, God forbid they get married, you would have thought you pulled the Jenga block from the bottom and knocked the whole tower over. Or if it's people who usually don't have nothing going on, like I noticed when I was doing charity work for my less fortunate family members, I noticed that they didn't like people who left from where they were at. They would always talk negatively about them. Oh, certain so and so thinks she all that because she got a business, a husband in the house. Like people really don't like that. That's why when we're on social media calling everyone communities, there is no community except communities that are communities. Like the whole general community, just because you identify as something, is idiotic, because it's a lot of dangerous people in every community, and that is why many minority communities are doing so bad, because y'all giving the power to people who were trained to use you. And in plain language, if people are used to you swallowing disrespect, your self-respect may look like disrespect to them. That's like those politicians that do fraud their whole career, and as soon as they get caught, they start turning on everybody else. But it is not. It is correction. It is recalibration. It is the new program saying I am no longer available for one-sided access. And this is important. Everyone gets distracted sometimes. Everyone has a bad day. Everyone has had a, I don't even know, like whenever I edit this and get it coherent, because I'm gonna have to let y'all see one of my drafts one day. It kind of softens my words up. But baby, I'm talking to adults. When YouTube asks me is this content made for children, I say no. So I'm kind of confused as to why everything needs to be softened. Adults don't be nice to children. Children is the one who needs softness, and y'all be so evil and mean to kids and neglectful. That was the other one I had. Maybe we didn't hit the hour mark. See, it's midnight because I try to really not get too many days in between when I post. Okay, so and this is important. Everyone gets distracted. Everyone has a bad day, not me. I don't have bad days. I don't feel like nothing is worth my day being bad, even if it's. But that's I died before, so everyone doesn't get that chance. Everyone has had a noisy background, a family interruption, a call waiting, a child asking for something, a pot boiling over, or someone in the house deciding that exact moment is when they need to ask where the remote is. That is life. But there is a difference between an occasional interruption and a relational pattern where one person consistently treats the other person's voice as optional. That is where you have to stop asking, do they love me? And start asking, do they respect me? No. Do they listen? Hell no. Do they repair? No. They try to sweep under the rug. Do they adjust? Hell no. Do they protect the connection? Nope. Do they notice when I'm carrying more than they are? Do they only want to access when I stop giving it? I also noticed too, though, some people will try to use your empathy against you. They'll do less when it comes to the apology because they hoping that your empathy fills in the blanks. That is why you have to stop bragging about being an empath. That is why, as crazy as it sounds, it is not good to let people know all of the different emotional things you feel and things that you can do, or if you somebody that have dreams or something. Baby, y'all be having people, and y'all is younger me too. So I'm in it too. I'm in the boat too. Be having people y'all thinking it's cool because they ain't ever directly judged you whole time. Every conversation is in a group chat or sent to somebody else. And now we have more technology so people can record stuff. That is why I am happy that I was born in the 90s, because if I had to be a child during today, y'all whole life is forever now. Y'all can't run away from nothing. And I don't know why adults haven't realized that. You have grown adults posting themselves committing crimes. They miss the listener, the helper, the emotional janitor, the emergency contact, the loyal one, the understanding one, the one who let everything slide, the one who made the relationship easy because you absorbed the hard parts alone. But when you interrupt the program, the relationship has to either mature or reveal itself. And either outcome is information. Baby, that'll be beautiful though for people to mature. Businesses know your programming. Now, here's where it gets dark. As mentioned earlier, businesses know people have programs. They study behavior, attention, impulse. Mind y'all, I'm on air again today too with this yoga ball or whatever the name of the ball is. Big great balls. They study impulse. They study scarcity, or some people might say scarcity. They study scarcity. They study trends, desire, night walk desire, let me stop. Insecurity, convenience. They study what makes people click, buy, subscribe, return, scroll, and spend. Stores are designed so impulse shoppers always have something to grab. Restaurants follow social media trends because people with fear of missing out programming feel like they have to experience what everyone else is experiencing so they could chime in. Word to Brie area, if I said it right, because that stuff is everywhere. And I tried it before, and it's like limited edition items work because scarcity programming says get it now or regret it forever. Fake sales work because scarcity mindset hears you are saving money, even when you were not planning to spend money at all. Subscription models work because people have set it and forget it programming. You can see the charge come out. You say, I need to cancel that before next month. Then the program sends you right back into your daily life. Next month comes, the charge hits again. Now you mad at Netflix, Hulu, the gym, the app, the meditation service. Now, sometimes the gym don't be canceling people stuff. So if you ever have to cancel a gym, do it in writing and go in person. And if you can't go in person, do it in writing and call them and also threaten to sue them. That'll get them to cancel it. The cloud storage and the premium version of something you open twice. But really, the program was predictable. Businesses are not always selling to your needs. Sometimes they're selling to your patterns. And if you do not know your patterns, somebody else can monetize them. And a lot of them too use fear tactics. They might have products that's not even needed, and they'll make you feel like you need it for a certain thing. Or kind of like how the credit bureaus allow over 150 million Americans information to be stolen, leaked, or whatever the story is, but then turn around and they selling identity protection. Like, so you're selling a solution to a problem that you allowed to happen. Got it. Programming is why some people immediately think borrow before they think adjust. They don't ask, can I increase my income? Can I decrease spending? Can I sell something? That's funny. Can I delay this purchase? Can I negotiate? Can I learn a skill? Can I build a system? Can I stop leaking money through convenience? I've done all of those things. Whenever I have money issues, I've done that. Is probably 6 people in my adult life that have ever given me money, which was no more than $80, I think, one time, and then average $20 all of the other times, which was during COVID for most, and then one of the times my jaw was broke. But and I gave them double the money back because loaning just feels dirty to me, based because of the fact that people took advantage of it when I used to do it for them. So I'd never do it. I'll pawn everything before I do that. I'll pawn my beard. Can I learn the skill? Yes, you can. And their brain goes straight to loans. That is a program. I have seen people change income brackets. Their lives never changed. More money came in, but the same program stayed in control. So the expenses rose, the habits expanded, the lifestyle inflated, the depth adapted, the stress upgraded to premium programming. That is why money alone does not fix a person's life. Word to my caregivers. They definitely, no matter how much money they had, they always still were in debt. One of them, I paid the same debt for them 3 times. Oh, I just need that money one time, and I'm gonna pay this off. And I ain't gonna bother nobody no more. I'm gonna be back in the up again, and I ain't gonna need no more money. Baby, I gave them that money, and they asked for more money again. Like, people, really, you cannot help people. If a person has bad credit, bad everything, giving them money is like giving alcohol to an alcoholic and telling him to bring it to somebody else and don't open it. That's just the same difference. Word to Adrian Bronner. Money gives your program more room to express itself. If the program is discipline, money can buy stability. If the program is chaos, money becomes chaos with better shoes. And the plot twist to this is that you can have all of this. You could check every box, but you're such a good friend. You're such a good sister, a good auntie, a good uncle, a good son, a good husband. And the person has a program. Like for me, when I used to be a good, the dutiful friend, people always wanted to go out to eat. And it's like, damn, bitch. Like, and that can mess up stuff. Programming and repeating the same life. When a person keeps changing friend groups, jobs, relationships, churches, homes, cities, and environments, but keeps landing in the same type of problem, that may be programming. I am not saying every bad situation is someone's fault. Absolutely not. People can be mistreated, discriminated against, abused, underpaid, harmed, deceived, or trapped in systems that are unfair. And certain cities are worse than others. So some cities might just be bad. But there is also a pattern where someone changes the scenery without changing the script. New job, same conflict. New relationship, same betrayal. New friend group, same gossip. That's like the people. New house, same filth. New city, same loneliness. New opportunities, same procrastination. New year, same. This is my year. That's funny. This is my year. Where's the new year old me? There we go. Programming is not only our actions, it is the internal compass that can duplicate situations with new people and new environments. That is why running from everything can be dangerous. Sometimes distance is necessary. Sometimes leaving is wisdom. Sometimes separation saves your life. But growth requires more than escape. Growth requires absorption. You have to absorb the lesson, not just survive the event. Like for people who keep being in relationships with cheaters, or like how some of those women who become homophobic because every man they dated was down low. You have to start asking questions. What was mine? What was not mine? What did I ignore? What did I tolerate? What did I repeat? What did I learn? What will I do differently next time? And also for people who not emotionally intelligent, they treat dating like if it's fishing. Like, okay, I caught a bass. I really wanted some catfish. So I'm gonna throw this fish away and then I'm gonna just keep trying because I know they got bass, salmon in this thing, or catfish in this particular area. It don't work that way. If you don't have emotional awareness, you don't know your own habits, you essentially walking through life with a blindfold on and hoping that you land on a comfortable seat. Like, so when people be keep trying after heartbreak, but they don't go and build themselves up to be a different person, like you're trying again as the same person, it's so many moving parts to how people end up in bad friendships and connections with people. And it's not just you need to choose better, it's deeper than that. Because depending on the type of people you attract, sometimes it's just the good things in you can attract the bad people. And some people, it's a lot of personality quirks that a lot of people are not aware of, especially because people don't know how to tell when people faking. But whatever they don't know is not their fault, but it's not safe. And the pressure from society makes people do that. And then if a person has a habit of relationship hopping, they're just gonna keep doing it. Programming in disenfranchised communities. Let me change that because that might make somebody dizzy. Programming can happen to anyone from any background, but disenfranchised communities can become hotspots. Shout out to the hood for destructive programming because of proximity, stress, limited resources, trauma, underfunded schools, unsafe neighborhoods, food deserts, predatory businesses, low trust, survival culture, and normalized function. I know where I grew up at, you had three options. Either you was gonna be a or four. You had a child who probably had friends other places, so you really wasn't rocking with the neighborhood kids. You were made to stay inside and be a homebody because your parents didn't want you with the neighborhood kids. You were a neighborhood kid that was outside, and then you let the older, immature 20, 30-year-olds who still hanging with children influence you. Or you could be somebody who outside and you probably don't get along with them because you don't follow them. And you like me, I used to be outside by myself a lot. And familiarity is powerful. If the closest food is unhealthy, that becomes the routine. If the closest financial service is predatory, that becomes the option. If everyone borrows, borrowing feels like adulthood. If everyone smokes, smoking feels social. If everyone is angry, calm people look fake. Angry men. If everyone is struggling, stability can look like betrayal. This is why exposure matters, silence matters, why healthy alone time matters, because you can pick up other people's programming. And I can't tell you how many offshore men came to work with pearly whites and by month 6 were chain smoking. Word to Halsey in that song Closer, which is baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can't afford. Bite that tattoo on your shoulder, pull the sheets right off the corner of the mattress that you stole from your roommate back in Boulder. We ain't never getting older. Environment is real. Peer influence is real. Routine is contagious. And if you do not choose your programming, your surroundings will start installing updates without asking permission. And that's also too why new jobs can be uncomfortable for some people. Because if the programming is to be messy and two-faced, and you come in that piece being honest and doing your job and staying to yourself, baby, that ruffles feathers. They gonna try to get you in the game one way or another. And then they be so happy if you finally get into it with somebody. Why growth can make people feel uncomfortable. People who become aware of their programming can come off as weird to people still deeply controlled by theirs. Me, whenever I'm places, especially around other men who like to have a dick measuring contest and kikiing in each other's face and all of this other stuff, I'll just be looking at them like, Y'all bitch made. But anyways, because when you stop reacting the same way, people notice. When you stop gossiping, people notice. When you stop drinking, people notice. When you stop overspending, when you stop entertaining disrespect, when you stop trauma dumping and start problem solving, when you stop being available for every crisis. I used to have a trauma dumping thing when I was younger because that was the programming. But once I realized what it was, I stopped immediately. And I also realized that people don't care. And social media was picking up, and I was seeing, oh, we got mad days in the atmosphere. Not for me, but just other people where immediately after a fallout, they would get online and post all kinds of personal stuff about people. It's like, yeah, no. So I like anyone who's known me in the last 10 years, you do not know me at all. Which you don't need to know me because I don't care about people. It's not like I'm gonna get anything out of you, but you just don't know me. So don't think you know me. They see something different and want to understand it, but others attack because your growth shook their nervous system and their conscious mind cannot put a name on it. So they say you're acting brand new. You think you're better. You change. You fake now. You don't keep it real. You too good for everybody. No. Sometimes you stop letting old programming drive the car. And when insecure people feel exposed by someone else's discipline, they may attack and call it honesty. I just call it how I see it. No, you call it how your wound sees it. Keeping it real should not be a cover charge for being emotionally reckless and disrespectful. Sad. This is one of the darkest parts. Manipulators and abusers understand programming, even if they don't use that word. They learn what makes a person respond: fear, guilt, shame, hope. A lot of people use hope. That's why they promise stuff and don't give it. Silence, money, love, isolation, religion. That's why you notice politicians start quoting Bible scriptures when they're trying to manipulate people. Family loyalty, embarrassment, reputation, children, housing, dependency, forgiveness. They carve out programs for their usual situations. They may already know what they will say if the person tries to leave. They may know how to cry at the right time, how to smear the person's name, how to make the victim look unstable, how to recruit family and friends. They sound like my family. They may know how to provoke someone, record the reaction, and hide the buildup. That is why people who escape often need help from a source the predator did not plan for. A new friend, a hotline, a therapist, shelter, lawyer, coworker, neighbor, a stranger, a moment of clarity, a resource outside the abuser's control. When people leave abusive families, friendships, workplaces, or relationships, the people left behind may cause an uproar because the old system lost control. And don't ever, if you ever leave a job, unless that person was your friend before that job, stop contacting them people. I don't care how nice they are to you at all. Every job I have worked at, every job I worked at, when somebody was fired or quit or had some type of scandal, whoever kept in contact with them would always run tell that. Like, stop it. Please stop, y'all. Cut it off. And the people, and it's not that the people reach out voluntarily. The people at the job will act like they checking on them. Do not trust that. Stop talking to them people, especially if you have anything legal going on, or if you may be trying to file for unemployment. Do never do that. I have seen people get their unemployment claims denied because they overshare with a mole that was still at their job. Like, do not trust those people. When you're at work, you can play along to get along, but don't ever waver from your boundaries, because people will try to catch you in the moment and slip stuff in. That's why if you notice at workplaces, people try to do stuff and use laughter to hide under it. Don't fall for it. Don't take the bait, silly goose. Like Scissor tweeted, that is not love. That is a system trying to reinstall itself. The National Domestic Violence Hotline offers confidential support for people dealing with abusive relationships. And I want to say this clearly. If you are in danger, do not use this video as your whole plan. Get real world help quietly, safely, strategically. Some situations require support, not just strength. When programming makes people quit on life, some people are not physically dead, but they have silently quit on life. They still wake up. go to work, talk, laugh sometimes, post online, show up at events, but growth stop. The storylines stay the same. New relationships, same play by play. New house, same mess. New opportunity, same sabotage. New year, same complaint. New blessing, same neglect. And because they're still technically functioning, nobody notices that internally they checked out. This is why therapy, self-reflection, support, and honest accountability matter. Therapy does not mean you're crazy. Sometimes therapy is where you find the source code. Cognitive behavioral therapy is often used to help people recognize and change unhelpful thinking and behavioral patterns, though different people may need different forms of support. Not every person needs the same tool, but every person needs some form of reflection. Not to mention, some people may have inherited mental illness from their families. We can have genes of mental illnesses, and sometimes it might not be triggered into certain situations. So just be mindful of yourself. Again, shame only comes when people think about what the world see them as. Like, if you want to feel shame, feel it on yourself. That's your feelings. But please check yourself, because a lot of lives can be saved if people just took care of their mental illness. I knew people who was in denial of mental illness, and one of the triggers made them an angry person and a violent person, and they met the wrong person, and now they not here no more. So please get help. Like, please, with that, especially if you see signs in your family members, like, go get yourself checked. That way, and don't be ashamed, because I know a person who need to be on medication tried to make fun of somebody they was dating for having antidepressants. And it's like, how you mad at that? Like, anyways, health programs, sleep, movement, and maintenance. Some programming is hidden inside the basics. Sleep, movement, food, water, sunlight, stretching, dental care, medical checkups, quiet time. These sound simple until you look at how many people are breaking down while joking about the exact habits, breaking them down. I don't sleep. Mind you, the people I've talked to who said that is always because they nap during the day. Like, for me, accidentally took a nap today, but to fix my sleep cycle, I'm still going to wake up at the same time tomorrow and go to sleep at the usual time tomorrow. That's why I've learned how to keep my sleep cycle, because when you do the same habits the next day, baby, it's over. Or like, if you eat out too many times, back to back, your brain is not going to be wired to cook at home. It's going to keep wiring you to go get something to eat, because that's the stimulus and response. Hungry, I usually hop in the car and go get something. Or if every time you leave the gym, you go get something to eat, your brain is going to make that a habit. That's why you have to be conscious of that. I don't drink water. I'm gonna skip that. That's disrespectful. You shouldn't be a grown adult not drinking water. And if you don't drink water, you need to not drink water while knowing the benefits of water and the benefits you lacking, so that when it comes to collect, you don't be, oh, I got health issues, y'all pray for me, the devil busy. Your middle name must be devil then. I don't stretch. I live off coffee. I hate vegetables. I don't go to the doctor. I know I need to stop smoking. I know I need to move more. I know I need to floss. I know I need to rest. The positive thing about smoking is that smoking ain't the big, like, it's still bad, but it ain't the big bad no more. We have so much free cancer in our environment, baby. You gonna come across it anyway. And then the body sends a bill. Adults generally need at least 7 hours of sleep, according to CDC guidance. CDC physical activity guidance also recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity weekly, plus 2 days of muscle strength for adults. But y'all have to keep in mind too, if you probably maybe already having a certain level of moderate activity. If you have extended walks between your car and the break room and all this other stuff, you start counting all of that too. Don't, I mean, unless you just sit at home all day like my 600-pound life, you already have some type of activity, but just be more intentional with it if that's something that you want to work on, and add to it and keep it in a way that you can maintain it. Don't base future goals off today. You have to include the ups and the downs. If you know that every Thursday your street flood, add that to the goal too. Like, don't be people be making goals like every day gonna be easy. No, it's not. Especially when the weather changes. And have backup plans. Disability, injury, chronic illness, pain, work schedules, and mental health matter, but the principle remains. The body needs maintenance. You cannot treat your body like a rental car from a suspicious airport kiosk and then be shocked when the check engine light starts speaking in tongues. Maintenance is not vanity, it is respect. And your life will be different. Your brain is gonna work different too, because the more nutrients you lack, baby, I can imagine the thought your brain be telling you, your brain probably be cursing you out. For the people that it apply to. And the people that it don't apply, let it fly, but don't let it fly spirit, because it ain't gonna never leave the runway. My programming changed when I kept my mind on positive things. I cold turkeyed individuals who brought overwhelming negativity into my life. That was not easy. But after you have been through enough, you start realizing that peace is not boring. Peace is expensive. It costs access, old habits, explaining yourself less. Baby, explanation. What is an explanation? Unless it's something that is completely unclear, it's no explanation. It costs letting people misunderstand you, costs not responding to every invitation to chaos. I have died before, so anything less than dying is light work to me. That does not mean life does not hurt. It means I have a different scale. So when things happen, instead of instinctively reacting, yelling, cussing, crying, whining, or trauma dumping, I focus on the solution. Either things work out or they do not. Either way, a workout occurred. The event either built the outcome or built me. And sometimes it built both. That became a program. A problem comes and my mind looks for the solution. A craving comes and my mind asks for what it really wants. And see, the problem thing, that the problem with that is that when you have a solution-based thinking, if you around habitual complainers who don't act on nothing they complain about, but they complain about everything they complain about, it ain't gonna last long. It ain't gonna last long. And the only way you can get around that is if y'all don't talk frequently. Or, it got to be some type of thing in the middle to keep it going. But it's not going to last long, because those people see the world differently than you do. And there's no conversation you can have with them. There's no amount of encouragement. There's no book you could buy, because they're not going to read it. You could even say, I'm giving away a book, and they're going to lie and say it. Like the people who took Michelle Obama book I gave away, because whenever I finished reading the book, I donated now, but I used to give it away to people who claim they wanted it. None of them people read them books. They didn't read Barack book. They didn't read Megan Good and her then husband book, which that book was like, it was crazy, because when I read it, I'm like, they're not gonna last long, because it was, her husband was given like narcissistic tendencies. I can't diagnose them, but anyways, a craving comes and my mind asks what it really wants. A material desire comes and my mind asks whether I truly want it, or a program is speaking. Baby, my mind be thinking, especially if it's clothes, no, because I've been spring cleaning for the last 3 months of making sure that I keep getting rid of stuff, because it's too easy to become a hoarder. I started walking around my home looking at things I bought and never used. That was humbling, because some of us do not own things. We own receipts from old versions of ourselves. I stopped holding on to items just in case if the purchase was not worth the space it was taking in my home. I question food craving, spending, entertainment, grudges. I don't have any grudges. It's not like the way I talk, I guess because I like reading. So I'm accidentally passionate sometimes, even though my passion ain't the passion of other people. Because people be like, I talk like this because I'm passionate. No, not me. Our brain is a universe. Thoughts come and go. People who are beginners at meditation will tell you the brain is filled with random thoughts. You do not have to acknowledge everyone. You do not have to act on everyone. You do not have to build a lifestyle around the temporary feeling. And section 20, how to interrupt the programming. So how do you interrupt the programming? First, identify the loop. What is the cue? What is the behavior? What is the reward? Example, if the cue is boredom, then you start scrolling. Then the reward is stimulation. If the cue is stress, and then it makes you overeat, the reward is comfort. If the cue is payday and the behavior is overspending, the reward is excitement. If the cue is a family gathering and the behavior is shrinking, the reward is avoiding conflict. If the cue is loneliness, behavior is texting the wrong person, temporary connection. Oh my God. Like during my party animal days, I always used to be jealous of people who had people to drunk text, because I didn't. It would be like calling the people that I just left from, making sure they made it home. But it used to be fun to hear other people's drunk calls and texts. Once you know the loop, stop calling it random. Second, interrupt the queue, change the environment, move the phone, leave the card at home, put walking shoes near the door, keep water visible, avoid the aisle, mute the group chat. Do not go to the place that activates the old habit you have until you have a replacement plan. Third, replace the routine. Do not just remove, replace. If stress used to become sugar, make stress become a walk. Tea, journaling, breathing, stretching, prayer, cleaning, music, or calling someone grounded. Journaling probably is more accessible because all of our cell phones have areas that you can put in. Even though this is my current cell phone with 2,000 minutes for 1 year, and I'm not going to use all of them because this little baby is just for like apps that you got to scan in with and all of that. I don't even like when I don't explain no more. So when I tell people I ain't rocking with the phone like that, they don't realize I really ain't rocking with the phone like that. Like, but that's on them. People won't be dumb all their life. If boredom used to become spending, make boredom become organizing, reading, cooking, learning, editing, walking, or working on something that pays you back. Another thing too, I noticed when you oversaturated anywhere in life, look at the music industry, but as a person, when you oversaturate it and people always have access to you, it's cliche, but it is so true. People really take you for granted because when I was really going above and beyond with my communication with people, the way they acted versus the way they act when they able to reach me now is not the same. If loneliness used to become chaos, make loneliness become connection with safe people, creativity, therapy, support groups, or meaningful rest. Fourth, reward the new behavior. Your brain needs to feel the benefit. Celebrate the calm. Notice the better sleep. Notice the less painful walk. Notice the money still in the account. Notice the clean mouth. Notice the smaller plate working. Peaceful evening. Argument you did not join. The person you did not text. You cannot build a program while ignoring the proof. Fifth, expect resistance. Well, baby, I'm hoping that all of the people who may ever use this wild video for guidance, why that's so ghetto. But that you know that I'm rooting for you. It will knock. It will say, remember me just today. You deserve it. You already messed up. This is boring. This is not you. Who do you think you are? And that is when you answer, I am the update. Final message. Make sure your programming is not set to fail because life will challenge everyone. No one avoids pain, change, temptation, disappointment, aging, consequences. But you can decide what program gets stronger, the program that reacts or the program that reflects, the program that spins or the program that stabilizes, the program that eats past pain or the program that listens to the body, the program that chases chaos or the program that protects peace, the program that repeats the past or the program that builds the future. You are not stuck because change is impossible, but you may be stuck because the old program is familiar and does not mean final. At any moment, you can pause and ask, is this me? Is this a wound? Is this a habit? Is this programming? Is this actually what I want? That pause is powerful. That pause is where freedom begins because the moment you can see the program, you are no longer inside it. You are observing it. And once you observe it, you can interrupt it. And once you can interrupt it, you can rewrite it. They have a whole 5-step thing I made, but I do not feel like reading that because it's too long now. In the far future, I'll have a blog one day with some of these things in there. But you know what? I'm gonna put it in the description. It is in the description below. So this is the end. Now that we've come to the end of the road. I'm about to go and take a shower. Thankfully, I'm recording because I'm musty as hell right now. Y'all have a good night or a good day.
Like, comment, and subscribe to J New Orleans.